everybody. Well, it's been a long time since you've seen anything on YouTube with Baking with Barb WI. And I decided that it was just time to get going and do something and say hi to everybody. And I hope you all are doing really, really well. We are going to be making something a little different today than usual. It has nothing to do with Pillsbury can. Look at what we have today. We have broccoli. I found a recipe for broccoli casserole that I just thought sounded really, really good, and so we're going to give it a shot this afternoon. I'm not going to keep you on while I cut the broccoli up because I don't think it would be terribly interesting to sit and watch me chop up four. We need four of the broccolis, and I'll go over the recipe for you in a minute. But I have everything all ready to go. We have broccoli. We have cream of mushroom soup. We have an onion that the butter is melting for now. We have, yes, Velveeta cheese. We have mayonnaise. And we have Ritz crackers. No, I've never made this before. I follow a lady called Brenda Gant on YouTube. No, she's on Facebook. And I just absolutely love her. She's down to earth. She's got some great recipes. And she's kind of fun to watch. And, oh, I forgot, we also have eggs. And my YouTube videos tend to get a little bit long, so I thought, well, I'm going to get everything ready. I'm going to chop everything up, and then we'll go over the recipe and show you how everything is done. And maybe, just maybe at the end, we'll do a little chocolate caramel pecan treat, because as you all know, those are my three favorite things. My little clicker doesn't work for some reason. On my new handy dandy tripod, so I'm going to have to turn this on and off by myself. So forgive that, but we'll be back as soon as I get done chopping up some broccoli. Hi there, I'm back. And what we're doing right now is I have put a cup of mayonnaise and 1 can of cream of mushroom soup in my bowl, to which I will add 2 eggs and 1/3 of a strip of chunk of Velveeta cheese. And in the meantime, I'm steaming the broccoli just for about 10 minutes or so that it is slightly done. So we're steaming here, and then we are sauteing some onions, and they're about finished. That will also go into that mixture. And then on top of that, we will crush the Ritz crackers and then bake. So this is really, really, really simple. I've got everything ready to go. I did not cut my broccoli up into tiny little pieces like I was advised to. I figured that if they were too big for somebody to put into their mouth, that's what a knife and a fork are for. You know, I'm just saying that. I think adults can probably take care of that themselves. So I'm going to finish steaming the broccoli and putting everything together, and then I will check back when we put the Ritz crackers on. Here we are stirring up the soup and the mayo and the 2 eggs. This is kind of what it looks like. And yes, I use one of these white pans. I actually saw this same lady. Oops, I have to turn my onions down. The same lady that I watch cooking uses one of these bowls, and it makes so much sense. I absolutely love it, and it's kind of funny because shortly after I saw her use one of these, I went to a vintage sale, and what did I see? I saw the same bowl. So of course I had to get it. I've used it ever since for batters, for cookies, for cooking, for literally mixing up everything. It is wonderful. So this is what it looks like with a can of soup, cup of mayo, 2 eggs. And when she did this, it was really kind of funny because she had double yolked eggs. She still used 2 eggs, but she said these are double yolked eggs, as though she knew they were double yolked eggs. To me, it's always a surprise. So that begs the question: can you buy eggs with 2 yolks? I should ask Mary. And you know what? I forgot to put my crown on. Darn. I'll ask Mary, because Mary knows everything there is to know about chickens and eggs because she has them. And I don't know, she just knows these things. So into this, I'm going to cut up the cheese and kind of fold that in the Velveeta cheese. And then I will dump the sauteed onions, which were sauteed in a half a stick of butter, and it all goes in. And then lastly, the broccoli. So we will be back. I figured I would turn this on and chat with you while I cut up the cheese into the bowl. I've already put the onions in, and I have shut off my steamer for the broccoli because we just want to soften it. We don't want to completely cook it through. I used 4 large bunches of broccoli, or you can use a 32-ounce bag of frozen florets. And you do not have to bake this the same day that you prepare it. You can put it in the fridge and bake it the next day or the next day. Just remember that when you do bring it out, to bring it to room temperature first before you put it in the oven. And since everything is really pretty much done, you bake it at 350 degrees. Now, she did not state how long to bake this, but since everything is really pretty much done and cooked, my guess is 20 to 30 minutes at 350. I suppose you could check it to make sure that it was hot throughout, but just remember, if you do refrigerate it for baking at a later date, to bring it to room temperature before you put it into your oven. So there we have, sun is shining so you can't really see that too well, and it's heavy, and I don't want to spill it. And I am going to put it in the size casserole dish, which is about the size that she had. And before I shut this off for a little minute and get the broccoli out of the stove, I wanted to show you how she crushed her crackers. Now, I bought these Ritz crackers because I thought they were the long, tube, but they weren't. They're little shorties. But this is what she did. You see this? When she crushed the tall tube, she crushed down on it hard on one end and switched it, crushed down hard on the other end. Oops, and it actually came open, which you don't want it to do because you'll have crumbs all over. But then she just kind of went through it like that and crushed some more. Let's do another one, see if I can do it without splitting the seam. There's a lot of air in there and it wants to pop. So perhaps I won't push it quite so hard. And then the other side, you press, crush, crush, crush. I do not see an empty seam. There's some whole ones in there. So we're going to crush just a little harder. Oops! Did you hear that pop? Scared me. So I'm guessing that 3 of these little ones are about the same as a whole one. So I'll do the last one off camera, and I'm going to get my broccoli ready. I'm going to stir it in, and I'll show you how it looks. Well, look at what I have. Isn't that just as pretty as can be? Now, I steamed these too long because the broccoli is cooked through, and I probably steamed it for 15 to 20 minutes, and you're only supposed to do it for about 10. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but I'm not going to bake it quite as long either because it's done. Might be a little mushy, but that's okay. Now, the Ritz crackers, I think they crushed up really, really nicely. You'll be able to see kind of how they go, and just put those both on top. I crushed 3. I don't know that I will need 3. But I love toppings, crunchy stuff. So because of that, I think we'll put the third one on. I can't remember the last time I had a Ritz cracker. Oops, that's the one that opened. So we probably don't need the scissors on that. But you know what? Her method of crushing the crackers certainly worked. And I do have a new set of pots and pans. And a steamer came with it. And I have to admit, I should have long ago. I know I have never steamed vegetables before. I will just put them in water, boil them, bake them. Sometimes I'll just put broccoli in a frying pan and fry it in a little oil and get it nice and crispy. I've never steamed them, but are they ever nice? So I may have a new cooking method in my new pots and pans because it came with a steamer. I am going to put foil on this and put it in the fridge and save it probably until Sunday and bake it then. So I may come back with a little report, or I will just post to let you all know how it came out. The thing that I questioned a little bit is there are no spices in here. No salt, no pepper. The salt is from the crackers, the onions, and I don't like onions, but I still put them in because that's what the recipe called for. So we will see how it turns out. I'm going to clean my kitchen up a little bit, and then we'll come back and make a little chocolate caramel pecan treat. Hi everybody, well I am back. The broccoli casserole is in the refrigerator waiting to be baked on Sunday, and I know it's going to be just absolutely delicious. You will notice that I now have my crown on, and for those the multitude of new subscribers that I will get who aren't aware of why I wear the crown, it's really quite simple. It's simply because everybody should feel special. Everybody should feel beautiful, and therefore a crown definitely takes care of that. So I suggest and strongly recommend that you all Google crowns. They're not expensive. They're really glittery. They're beautiful. Mary has a crown. Molly has a crown. And I have a feeling quite a few others do have those crowns, but they're just not sharing that with me yet. So I had told you that we're going to have a little caramel, chocolate, and pecan treat. Well, it's at the end of the day. It's this time of the day now. And I've been rather busy, and my recipe for turtle bars just wasn't calling to me. And you all know that I'm not adverse to boxes, cake mixes, brownie mixes. My sister, for her son's birthday, makes a German chocolate cake from scratch every year. And he is, I don't know how old he is, late 30s, kind of maybe 40-ish. I'm not sure, so I'm sorry about that, Brandon, if I'm off. But it takes her all day. And my son, I believe, also loves his German chocolate cake, and I made it for him religiously whenever he wanted it for his birthday, and it came out of a box. And the frosting came out of a can, Pillsbury can. So I decided I didn't have the energy, or I had lost interest in making those caramel treats, but I just had a taste for it. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I have in the fridge? So look what I came up with. We have a rather old, but they've been in the fridge, so you know it doesn't matter, Girl Scout Thin Crisps. Thin Crisps, I think they're called. Mint Thins. I'm not a fan of mint, so I really don't know what they're called. And then I happen to have some homemade caramel sauce. Yes, I made caramel sauce last week or so because I wanted some, I guess, for no other reason. So I'm thinking, why don't I take this mint Thin Crisp thing, whatever it's called, and dip it in the caramel you know, it's kind of all the same. And of course, you know me, I always have pecans. So if we took a couple pecans and put it on there. And my other favorite thing that you don't know is coconut. Oh, I love coconut. And I look right here. It's coconut. So if we take a little coconut, sprinkle that on top. Look at that. Now it's like a Girl Scout. What are those other things called? Caramel Delights or something like that? That chocolate is just dripping off there. The only bad thing about it is the mint. I just don't like the mint, but you know what? That's okay. And that took me all of what? 30 seconds. And I have a plethora of little treats. I don't have to cook anymore. I don't have to bake anymore. And folks, I'm done for the day. So it was really nice getting back together with you. I'm not going to let so much time go between my next video. So thank you very much for joining me and have a wonderful evening.